There are clear links between current national educational policy documents that set out the concepts and standards for practices within the teaching profession and the mental health and wellbeing focus of the KidsMatter primary and MindMatters frameworks. From the perspective of KidsMatter and MindMatters, there are two important connections with the Australian curriculum. One is through the general capabilities. There are 7 capabilities embedded in the teaching and learning of all learning areas. In the content of KidsMatter and MindMatters, we focus on the following 3 capabilities. First, the personal and social capability. Second, ethical understanding. And third, intercultural understanding. Now I'll go back to the first of these, personal and social capability, and talk a little bit more about how it is structured and its connections to the CSEL social and emotional core competencies that are so important in component 2 of KidsMatter. The personal and social capability has 4 organising elements: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness and social management. The CSEL core competencies are the same, with the exception of social management, which is expanded to include positive relationships and responsible decision making. If you look at both the KidsMatter and MindMatters resources, you will actually see that these are the same organising elements that we use for KidsMatter Component 2 for social and emotional learning and the MindMatters curriculum resources. The second strong connection we can make between the Australian curriculum and KidsMatter and MindMatters is through the health and physical education curriculum. In this document, mental health and wellbeing is identified as one of the focus areas for teaching and learning. There are clear links between current national educational policy documents that set out the concepts and standards for practices within the teaching profession and the mental health and wellbeing focus of the KidsMatter primary and MindMatters frameworks. The Melbourne Declaration sets the agenda for educational reform for Australian schools. This document is significant because it identifies schools as playing a vital role in the development of children and young people. The focus is on promoting intellectual, physical, social, emotional, moral, spiritual and aesthetic development and wellbeing of young Australians. From the perspective of KidsMatter and MindMatters, the focus on supporting the whole child is critical. It can be achieved by implementing a whole school approach that supports mental health and wellbeing. A whole school approach engages all stakeholders: parents, students, staff and community, and involves them in working together. They collaborate to implement multiple strategies with a common set of values across the interlinked areas of a positive school community, curriculum teaching and learning, and a whole school approach to partnerships with parents and agencies that support mental health and wellbeing. The first goal of the Melbourne Declaration specifies the requirement of equity and excellence for all students. The second goal emphasises the need for young people to be successful learners, confident and creative individuals, and active and informed citizens. A series of commitments to action set out the key educational reform agenda for schools in the Melbourne Declaration in 8 areas. Together with the National Education Agreement, the actions determine funding to states and territories in areas including literacy and numeracy and improving educational outcomes for disadvantaged students and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. Other significant links between the commitments to action from the Melbourne Declaration and KidsMatter and MindMatters include developing a world-class curriculum and the National Safe Schools Framework, which focuses on ensuring schools are safe and supportive environments for all students. At the present time in 2014, schools are actively involved in the process of implementing the Australian curriculum. There are links here that work with KidsMatter and MindMatters. Both KidsMatter and MindMatters emphasise the importance of the explicit teaching of social and emotional skills. This is based on the correlation between social and emotional competence and student academic achievement. We know that when a student is well and happy, they are more likely to be connected and engaged with school and learning. There are clear links between current national educational policy documents that set out the concepts and standards for practices within the teaching profession and the mental health and wellbeing focus of the KidsMatter primary and MindMatters frameworks. There are clear links between current national educational policy documents that set out the concepts and standards for practices within the teaching profession, and the mental health and wellbeing focus of the KidsMatter primary and MindMatters frameworks. I referred previously to the National Safe Schools Framework, which was relaunched in 2011. This document provides the vision and guiding principles for safe and supportive schools that promote student wellbeing and the development of respectful relationships. It is evident that the Melbourne Declaration on Educational Goals for Young Australians identifies schools as a significant setting to promote student wellbeing. The National Safe Schools Framework outlines 9 key elements to guide planning for student wellbeing and safety in schools. There are excellent web-based resources to support planning and implementation of strategies that promote student safety and wellbeing in schools. These include the Safe Schools Hub, which provides stakeholders with tools and resources to nurture student responsibility and resilience, build a positive school culture, foster respectful relationships, and support students impacted by antisocial and bullying behaviours. KidsMatter and MindMatters have mapped targets, goals, and action areas to these 9 elements. Both frameworks are excellent vehicles through which schools can deliver on these outcomes for students. The National Safe Schools Framework also acknowledges the important role that parents, carers and the wider community play in promoting student wellbeing and safety. There are clear links between current national educational policy documents that set out the concepts and standards for practices within the teaching profession, and the mental health and wellbeing focus of the KidsMatter primary and MindMatters frameworks. The final professional documents we will look at are produced by the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, or AITSL. The Institute has developed the professional standard for principals and a set of professional standards for teachers. In both, there are strong connections to personal wellbeing, student and staff wellbeing, and safety. The role of the school leader in the 21st century is a significant undertaking. A principal is responsible for leading the school community to educate and support children and young people to become successful learners and informed citizens. The aim of the standard is to define their role and to describe the leadership requirements of principals. Of significance in the professional standard is the importance of personal qualities and social and interpersonal skills, recognition of the importance of emotional intelligence, empathy, resilience and personal wellbeing in the leadership and management of the school. Both KidsMatter and MindMatters acknowledge the critical role leadership plays in the promotion and implementation of whole school approaches to support wellbeing of staff and students. The AITSL professional standards for teachers are organised into 3 domains of teaching. They are knowledge, practice and engagement, and these are further organised into 7 standards across 4 stages of the professional teaching career: the graduate teacher, the proficient teacher, the highly accomplished teacher, and finally the lead teacher. Although there is close alignment with all standards, 3 standards have particular relevance for KidsMatter and MindMatters. Standard 1, knowing students and how they learn, is significant because it requires teachers to know the physical, social and intellectual developmental characteristics of the students they teach. Teachers are also required to understand the impact of linguistic, cultural, religious and socio-economic backgrounds on student learning. In Standard 4, create and maintain supportive and safe learning environment, teachers are required to know what it takes to create an environment to keep everyone safe and connected to school. This standard resonates with the work in KidsMatter and MindMatters, which involves school staff in actively demonstrating social and emotional learning. Standard 7 requires teachers to engage professionally with colleagues, parents and carers and the community. This has a direct link to the themes in KidsMatter and MindMatters about connecting with the community beyond the classroom.